right. He had a hook, and he broke loose. He busted him, he just went up.
Punt team, let's go. Cover now. Oh, let's go.
You got the second back out.
That's
you got outside containment and the second back out. Because I'm going up over the center. So
yeah, that's what I thought. Because I couldn't figure out why Boyle was outside.
Huh?
I couldn't figure out why Boyle was on the outside of me.
I was looking for him too.
Yeah. Well, he was on the outside of me. Well,
he must have been just reading it then. And, you know, went with it. But he was right on the QB, I thought.
He had him. I thought I took the wrong damn inside.
Well, we got him, thank goodness. Okay.
The 1969 Houston Oilers were often an explosive team. A great part of their excitement was the introduction of two of the outstanding rookies in the American Football League. A record number of people visited the Astrodome to watch the Oilers play, and they saw a young team give the game all they had. The Oilers won their share of games, but Coach Wally Lim wasn't satisfied. He felt an important ingredient was missing. Wally Lim had a dream. He wanted a proven passer, a veteran quarterback to lead his young team. He wanted a passer who could hit the outside receiver. He wanted a passer with a full arsenal of offensive weapons. And most of all, he wanted a passer who could put the ball in the end zone. In the biggest trade in Houston's history, Charlie Johnson came from St. Louis for Pete Beathard and Miller Farr. In the summer of '62, when Wally Lim became head coach of the St. Louis Cardinals, he was impressed with a young quarterback who had Ph.D. credentials. But Lim was impressed with more than Charlie Johnson's intelligence. The coach discerned those special qualities needed to execute the art of quarterbacking. Wally Lim's confidence paid off. In the 4 years he coached the Cards, Johnson ran his offense, and before a hitch in the Army slowed his progress, was considered one of the fine young passers in the game. Under Lim, Johnson led one of football's most imaginative offenses. Next year, Houston will be in a division with the powerful Browns. Significantly, when Charlie Johnson takes the field against Cleveland, his team usually wins. He last lost to them 7 years ago and once passed for 6 touchdowns in a single game against the Browns. Wally Lim's dream was over. He had his man. Houston's new look doesn't end with Johnson. In the same trade, Bob Atkins came to the Oilers. At 6'3", 212 pounds, he's big for a cornerback, his position with St. Louis. However, Houston has other plans for his size and speed. Number 48 has remarkable hands, and he could be the big, fast, deep receiver the team has been seeking for years. The man who'll replace Miller Farr at cornerback is Leroy Mitchell. 2 years ago, he was the Patriots' most valuable player and an all-star. Mitchell was so highly rated, the Oilers traded 4 men to get him. Unfortunately, he suffered a cracked vertebra in training camp and missed the entire season. But in 1970, Mitchell will return, this time in an Oiler uniform. Another newcomer is an old Texas favorite, Jerry Rome, who came from the Browns. Number 89 is Alvin Reed, the biggest and best tight end in the AFL. He is 6'5", 230 pounds, and almost impossible to bring down. Reed has a great pair of hands, and for the second straight season led his team in receiving. His 51 catches were 4th best in the league. The 2 sophomore wide receivers, Mac Hike and number 81 Jim Byrne, are known around the league as tough catchers. Their play is characterized by fury rather than finesse. Jim Byrne ranked among the top 10 last year. Handsome Mac Hike was injured part of the season, but when he was healthy, Hike maintained the firebrand fervor that is the Houston receiver's style of play. The fullback is oak-legged Hoyle Granger. The big Cajun was off to a great start until he pulled a hamstring against the Bengals. The injury caused him to miss several games. Despite the setback, his heavy-duty running gained him 3rd place in the league standings. Granger finished with a flourish, bruising Boston for 139 yards. Woody Campbell returned from Vietnam for the season's 11th game and continued to be what Wally Lim calls the best short yardage and goal line back he ever coached. But the back who captured the fans' fancy was Roy Hopkins. He had the chance to show what he could do for the first time. Tackle to tackle, Houston has as good an offensive line as there is in the league. In 1970, they'll be starting their 4th year together as a unit. Bobby Maples is the center, and flanking him is number 60, former Notre Dame All-American Tom Regner, and number 66, 8-year veteran Sonny Bishop. Captain Walt Suggs has started 100 consecutive games at left tackle, and on the right side is number 78, All-Star Glenn Ray Hines. Next year, they'll be joined by first draft choice Doug Wilkerson and Michigan State All-American Ron Saul. When Houston met the Super Chiefs on a wild, wet day in Kansas City, things were definitely not up to date. The field was a quagmire. The problem was keeping the pigskin dry. It just couldn't be done. The two teams set a record for most fumbles in a game with 14. The Oilers, who are accustomed to the dry humor of the Astrodome, saw it literally rain footballs. The soggy game ended in the true tradition of high comedy. The real pride of the Oilers has always been their defense, traditionally one of the best in the league. Mobility is their strong suit. Tom Domrus, number 71, in his first year as a regular, had the power to bring down the biggest back in the league. And he had the speed to catch up to them. And the ball. Against Denver, his quickness paid off in a lineman's dream. Number 70, Carroll Stiff, was the other tackle. When he was injured, he was replaced by Willie Parker and George Rice. Steady six-year veteran Pat Holmes was a defensive end on the left side, and again the position was an Oilers' strength. But the brightest star was Elvin Bethea, number 65, who has the power to throw blockers aside on his way to the enemy and has the speed to run down the swiftest quarterback. But it's his amazing agility that really sets him apart. These qualities enabled Bethea to leave the club in dumps and earned him a berth on an all-star team. Elvin Bethea is one of the fine young defensive players in football. The heart and soul of Houston's defense is huge George Webster, considered to be a once-in-a-lifetime player. He combines the strength of a lineman with the quickness of a cornerback. Each season he's played, Webster has been a unanimous All-Pro, and twice was picked for the combination AFL-NFL All-Star team. Last year, he was chosen to the all-time AFL team. At middle linebacker is the man with a musical name and effortless play, Garland Boyette. Boyette, as befits a 9-year veteran, had the happy habit of being in the right place at the right time. At right linebacker, Olin Underwood is one of the most consistent players on the team and one of the toughest. The men in any secondary must depend on a combination of talent, speed, and luck. Sometimes their luck is good. Sometimes it's bad. But the remedy for luck on defense is to hit, and to hit hard. True disciples of the philosophy were Zeke Moore and number 29, safety Ken Houston. Both are rangy and both are punishing hitters. Houston simply swarms over his man. He also has 9.5 speed, and against the Bills returned an interception all the way for the 5th time in his brief career. Zeke Moore also has the touchdown stride, as Joe Namath discovered last year. An exceptional ball hawk, Moore is fast becoming one of the good cornerbacks in the league. Like his counterparts in the Oiler backfield, Moore can hurt you. '69 was an exceptional year for rookies in Houston. 11 made the team. 5 of them made it big. Number 40, Charlie Joyner from Grambling, was a rarity in football. Joyner played both ways for the Oilers, at cornerback on defense and as a wide receiver on offense. A fractured arm prematurely ended his season in the 7th game. Number 1 draft choice Ron Pritchard made his presence felt at linebacker. He is very fast, and team with Webster gives the Texans exceptional quickness at outside linebacker. Pritchard combined with another rookie on defense, number 44, Johnny Peacock. After he became a regular in the last half of the season, Peacock amply demonstrated that, like the others in Houston's secondary, he is a headhunter. Roy Girella is the best kicker Houston's had since George Blanda. He was virtually unstoppable and broke Oiler records for field goals in the season, and against the Dolphins kicked 5 to set another record. The most extraordinary newcomer of all was a highly heralded young man from SMU named Jerry Levias. Levias brought a new dimension to the art of returning kicks. He brought back more than anyone in the AFL before him, and he continually gave his offense field position deep in enemy territory. But the rookie's talents were too great to be limited, and in mid-season he became a regular receiver. But somehow, regular doesn't do him justice. Levias showed he could do it all. And at season's end, he accounted for a full 1/3 of his team's offensive yardage. He quickly became a marked man. But the little fellow proved he could take the punishment of the pros and continued to flourish. and he flourished sensationally. Jerry Levias is the most exciting player the Oilers have ever had. Next season, it'll be the NFL and its array of new teams and great stars. But the heroes of the AFL will return. And Houston, who in 1960 won the first championship of the AFL, will strive for the same distinction in 1970 in the NFL.